Ever feel like you just didn't belong?
Yeah.
Like you were the odd one out? Well, it turns out even some of the biggest names in Hollywood know that feeling.
You'd think that fame and fortune would be like a shield against bullying. But our sources today, a mix of celebrity interviews and insights from stopbullying.gov, paint a different picture.
So today we're going on a deep dive into the world of bullying and exploring its surprising prevalence, even among those who seem to have it all, celebrities.
Yeah, we're going to be uncovering the lasting scars that bullying can leave behind, the many forms it takes from, the schoolyard shove to the digital battleground of cyberbullying.
We're even going to grapple with the unsettling reality that some who were bullied end up becoming bullies themselves.
And to kick things off, let's start with a story that might surprise you.
Okay.
Do you know that Oscar winner Kate Winslet, known for her, fierce confidence, was cruelly nicknamed Blubber in school?
It's shocking, right? You would think that someone with her talent and charisma would be immune to this kind of cruelty.
Yeah, it really highlights a crucial point.
What's that?
Bullying, it's truly universal.
Yeah.
It doesn't discriminate based on your future success or even your talent, for that matter.
Exactly.
Justin Timberlake, for example, was mercilessly teased for his acne and weird hair.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine?
I can't even imagine.
And it's not just about physical appearance either.
Right.
Priyanka Chopra, a global icon, was targeted simply because of a rumor that a bully's boyfriend had a crush on her.
That's awful.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Getting pushed against lockers and taunted just for existing.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder, why do people bully in the first place? Is it about power, insecurity, or something else entirely?
Well, looking at the reasons behind these celebrity experiences, it's almost like bullies have a radar for anything that makes you unique, and they weaponize it.
It's true.
Blake Lively, now known for her stunning looks, was called Big Bird because of her height and blonde hair.
Oh, wow.
Tom Holland, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, was bullied for his love of dancing. It seems like any passion or interest that falls outside the norm can just become a target.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to think that celebrating individuality can sometimes make you a target.
And this brings us to a key takeaway from stopbullying.gov.
Okay.
Anyone can be a victim.
Yeah.
And it's never the victim's fault.
That's so important to remember.
It really is.
But what happens when the school bell rings and the bullying doesn't end? What about the long-term effects?
Right, that's where this deep dive gets really thought-provoking.
Yeah.
The impact of bullying can linger for years, even decades.
Yeah.
You can hear the echo of those taunts in Sandra Bullock's voice.
Oh, wow.
Even decades later, she still struggles with the fear of public speaking stemming from childhood teasing.
It's true. It's a reminder that the wounds inflicted by bullying aren't always visible.
Exactly.
Tyra Banks, who faced relentless criticism about her weight fluctuations, still grapples with body image issues to this day.
And Jessica Alba, known for her strength and resilience, talks about developing a hard shell to protect herself from the emotional blows of bullying.
Wow, it's almost as if she had to build armor to survive.
Yeah, it's really powerful imagery.
Which brings us to a really important question.
Yeah.
If this is what happens to those who are bullied, what about the bullies themselves?
Right. Where do they fit into this picture?
Yeah.
That's where things get really complex.
Yeah.
We tend to think of bullying in these very black and white terms, the bully and the victim, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is often far more nuanced.
Yeah.
Sometimes those who are bullied, they end up becoming bullies themselves.
Really?
It's true.
So we see that playing out in some of these celebrity stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, whoa.
Well, Jennifer Lawrence, who was bullied as a child, admitted to accidentally pantsing a classmate at a football game.
Wow.
She's expressed regret for the incident, but it makes you think about how those early experiences can sometimes manifest in these harmful actions. And it really speaks to this idea of a bully-victim cycle.
Okay.
Someone who's been hurt, might lash out at others, either out of a misplaced sense of power or as a way of, preemptively protecting themselves.
Yeah, so it's not always clear-cut.
Right. It's a complicated dynamic for sure.
Demi Lovato, for example, has been open about spreading rumors and gossiping in middle school, even though she herself was also a target of bullying.
It's true.
It's interesting.
Christian Navarro, one of the stars of 13 Reasons Why, a show that tackles bullying head-on, actually confessed to being a bully himself in middle school.
Wow, really?
He said he did it to avoid becoming a target, but it highlights how those lines can get blurred.
So how do we break this cycle? Is it even possible to go from being hurt to helping?
Well, what's fascinating is that many of the celebrities we've discussed today who've experienced the pain of bullying firsthand are now using their platforms to advocate for change
Okay.
and to support anti-bullying organizations.
This is where we start to see that glimmer of hope.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
These individuals aren't letting their past define them.
Right.
Instead, they're turning their experiences into powerful tools for good.
I love that.
Take Brittany Snow, for example.
Okay.
She's known for her roles in, lighthearted movies like Pitch Perfect, right?
Yeah.
But she's also the founder of Love is Louder.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
It's an organization that provides support for people struggling with bullying, mental health challenges, and discrimination.
It's such an inspiring example of how someone can take their pain and turn it into something positive.
Absolutely.
Instead of succumbing to that cycle of hurt, she's actively working to break it.
Love is Louder actually goes beyond just raising awareness.
Oh.
They offer concrete resources like online communities and crisis support, which can be a lifeline for those who are struggling.
So it's not just about talking about the problem.
No.
It's about taking action and creating real change.
Exactly. And this is where the power of influence comes into play.
Yeah.
When someone with a platform speaks out against bullying, it can have a ripple effect, reaching people who might otherwise feel alone or unheard.
So what can we learn from Brittany Snow's example?
I think a lot.
How can we, as individuals, contribute to creating a world where love is louder than the voices of bullying?
That's a great question, and it leads us into a crucial part of this conversation, understanding the different forms bullying can take.
Okay.
We've talked about physical and verbal bullying, but there's another dimension that's become increasingly prevalent in the digital age.
Cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying, exactly.
And this isn't just kids being mean to each other online.
No, not at all.
Cyberbullying can have devastating consequences, especially because it can reach a much wider audience and leave a permanent digital trail.
You're absolutely right. Madison Beer, a singer who rose to fame on YouTube, has spoken candidly about receiving death threats online.
Oh, gosh.
It's a chilling reminder that behind those anonymous profiles are real people with the power to inflict real harm.
Yeah, it's a stark contrast to Priyanka Chopra's experience, which was primarily physical bullying.
Mm-hmm.
It really shows how the landscape has shifted and the ways in which technology can amplify the impact of cruelty.
Absolutely. And this highlights the importance of understanding the nuances of cyberbullying.
Okay.
It's not just about direct attacks. It can also take the form of social exclusion, spreading rumors online, or even impersonating someone to damage their reputation.
Wow. It's almost as if the internet has given bullies a whole new arsenal.
Yeah, I think that's a really apt way to put it.
And it's on all of us to recognize these new forms of bullying and learn how to combat them.
I agree.
So before we delve deeper into cyberbullying, let's just pause for a moment and reflect on what we've learned so far.
Okay.
It's clear that bullying is a complex issue with far-reaching consequences.
Absolutely.
It can impact anyone, regardless of their background or future success, and it can leave lasting scars.
That's right.
And while it's tempting to simplify the narrative
Yeah.
and label people as either bullies or victims,
Yeah.
the reality is much more nuanced.
Much more.
Sometimes, the hurt and vulnerability that stem from being bullied can actually lead to bullying behavior.
It's a really important point.
So what can we do with this knowledge? How can we, as individuals and as a society, break this cycle and create a more empathetic and supportive environment for everyone?
That's the question we're going to continue to explore as we move forward in our deep dive.
Okay.
But for now, I think it's important to acknowledge the courage of those who have shared their stories, both celebrities and everyday people alike.
It's true.
By speaking out, they are shedding light on this issue and helping to break the stigma surrounding it.
And as we move into the next part of our conversation,
Yeah,
I want you to keep these stories in mind,
me too.
because understanding the human impact of bullying is the first step towards creating lasting change.
I completely agree.
We'll be right back after a quick break. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about the complexities of bullying.
Yeah, and how the digital age has given rise to these new forms of cruelty.
It's important to remember that even though cyberbullying happens online, the pain it inflicts is very real.
It really is.
Think about it. Social media has become such a huge part of our lives, especially for younger generations.
Yeah.
It's where they connect with friends, express themselves, and, build their identities.
It's true.
So when that space becomes a battleground for insults and threats and just public humiliation, it can have a devastating impact on a young person's self-esteem and sense of belonging.
It's like the entire schoolyard dynamic has been, amplified and projected onto this global stage.
Yeah.
And there's often no escape,
Right.
no refuge from that constant barrage of negativity.
Exactly. And that's what makes cyberbullying so insidious.
Yeah,
It can follow you home, into your bedroom, even into your
it
dreams.
can feel inescapable.
And because it's often anonymous, cyberbullies can feel emboldened to say things that they wouldn't dare say face to face.
Right, it's like the internet grants them a cloak of invisibility and a license to be cruel.
We see this in the case of Madison Beer, who we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Receiving death threats online is an extreme example, but it highlights the level of vitriol that can be unleashed in the digital world.
It's terrifying to think about.
It's a reminder that words, even when they're typed on a screen, have the power to wound deeply.
And it's not just about the direct attacks either.
Right.
Cyberbullying can also manifest in these more subtle forms, like spreading rumors online, deliberately excluding someone from a group chat,
Right.
or even creating fake profiles to impersonate and humiliate someone.
It's like a digital version of social sabotage,
Exactly.
where the goal is to damage someone's reputation and social standing.
And the anonymity of the internet makes it so much more difficult to track down the perpetrators and hold them accountable.
It's a real challenge
It is.
for parents, educators, and lawmakers to keep up with the ever-evolving tactics of cyberbullies.
I think it highlights the need for these ongoing conversations about digital citizenship and responsible online behavior.
But it's not just about teaching kids how to navigate the online world safely. It's also about creating a culture where bullying in any form is simply unacceptable.
Right. It requires a collective effort.
So parents, educators, and community leaders all need to work together
They really do.
to create a climate where empathy and respect are valued
Absolutely.
and where differences are celebrated rather than weaponized.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the power of role models.
Okay.
We've talked about these celebrities who've experienced bullying firsthand
Right.
and are now using their platforms to advocate for change.
Their voices are so valuable because they can reach such a wide audience
They really can.
and help to destigmatize the experience of being bullied.
Yeah, they show young people that they're not alone, that even those who seem to have it all have faced similar struggles.
And it's not just about sharing their stories, it's about taking action.
Right.
Demi Lovato's work with Pacers teens against bullying and Secret's Mean Stinks campaign is a great example of how celebrities can use their influence to promote positive change.
These campaigns aim to empower young people to stand up against bullying
Okay.
and to create a culture of kindness and inclusivity,
Yeah.
and they provide resources and support for those who are struggling.
So it's about shifting the narrative from silence and shame to one of empowerment and action.
Exactly. And it's not just up to celebrities to lead this charge.
Okay.
We can all play a role in creating a more compassionate and supportive world.
So what can we as individuals do to make a difference? Where do we even begin?
Well, I think it starts with awareness.
Okay.
We need to recognize the signs of bullying, both in ourselves and in those around us.
Sometimes it's obvious, like physical aggression or name calling,
Right.
but other times it can be more subtle, like spreading rumors, social exclusion, or even just like a constant barrage of negative comments.
And it's important to remember that bullying isn't always intentional.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say or do things that hurt others without even realizing it.
So being mindful of our words and actions is a good place to start.
Absolutely. And if we see someone being bullied, whether it's in person or online, we need to speak up.
Okay.
Silence is often interpreted as acceptance, so even a small act of intervention can make a huge difference.
It's about sending a message that bullying is not okay and that we won't tolerate it in our communities.
Right. And for those who have been bullied, it's important to remember that you are not alone.
Yeah.
There are people who care, and there are resources available to help.
Talking to a trusted adult, a teacher, a counselor, or even a friend can be a huge step towards healing.
And there are also organizations like stopbullying.gov that provide information, support, and guidance for those who have been affected by bullying.
It's about breaking the silence, seeking support, and remembering that you deserve to be treated with kindness and respect.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the problem of bullying, but let's not forget that we also have the power to be part of the solution.
Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every time we choose to stand up for someone who is being mistreated, we're contributing to a more positive and compassionate world.
It might seem like a small thing,
Right.
but those small acts of goodness can have a ripple effect, creating a more positive and supportive environment for everyone.
So let's challenge ourselves to be more aware, more empathetic, and more courageous in our everyday lives because together we can make a difference.
Yeah, it's easy to get overwhelmed by the scale of this problem,
It
right?
really is.
But as we've seen, even their small acts of kindness can have a real ripple effect.
I like to think of it this way.
How's that?
Each time we choose empathy over apathy, we're kind of like planting a seed for a more compassionate future.
I like that.
We've explored some pretty heavy stuff today,
We have.
but it's important to remember that there's hope.
There really is.
Bullying, it's not like an unsolvable problem,
Right.
but it requires a real shift in mindset,
A commitment to creating a culture where everyone, really everyone, feels safe and valued.
And that starts with each of us taking responsibility for our own actions.
Exactly.
Think back to that question we posed earlier.
Yeah.
Have you ever witnessed or even participated in bullying?
Even unintentionally?
Yeah, even unintentionally.
It's a tough question to ask ourselves,
It is.
but it's an important one.
Yeah, because recognizing our own biases and blind spots is crucial to actually breaking that cycle.
We all have the potential to be both hurt and hurtful.
That's true.
And through self-awareness and empathy, we can choose a different path.
A better path.
Exactly. It's about understanding that words, they have power.
Yeah.
And that even seemingly harmless teasing can have a lasting impact.
You really can.
And it's about remembering that everyone is fighting their own battles,
Yeah.
Some are just more visible than others.
So let's just all choose kindness.
Yeah, let's choose compassion.
Let's choose to be upstanders, not bystanders.
Let's be the change we want to see in the world.
I love that. And, if you're struggling with bullying or know someone who is, please remember that you're not alone.
You really aren't.
There are resources out there available to help.
StopBullying.gov is a great place to start.
Okay.
They have tons of information on how to get help, how to report bullying, and how to support someone who is being bullied.
There are also hotlines, counseling services, support groups.
Right. All of those can provide guidance and just a listening ear.
So remember, your experiences matter.
They really do.
Your feelings are valid, and you deserve to feel safe and respected.
Absolutely.
Well, we hope this deep dive has given you a new perspective on the complexities of bullying and inspired you to be a force for positive change.
In your own life and in the world around you.
Because even the smallest act of kindness can make a world of difference.
It really can.
That's it for our deep dive today. Thanks for joining us. And remember, love is louder.